A shadow looms large over the annals of history, a figure whose very name evokes both awe and dread. Rising from the harsh steppes of Mongolia, he forged an empire that spanned continents, leaving a trail of fear and destruction in his wake. What dark forces propelled him from obscurity to unparalleled power? How did he become the most feared conqueror the world has ever known? As we peel back the layers of his life, we uncover a story of relentless ambition, brutal tactics, and secrets that have long been shrouded in mystery. This is the untold saga of Genghis Khan, where conquest and terror intertwined to create a legend that endures to this day. Born as Temujin in 1162, Genghis Khan's early life was fraught with hardship. His father, Yesuge, was a tribal chieftain who was poisoned by a rival clan, leaving Temujin and his family vulnerable. This early betrayal by those who were supposed to be allies instilled in him a deep mistrust and a ruthless drive for self-preservation. Temujin's family was subsequently abandoned by their clan, forced to survive in the harsh Mongolian steppes. These years of isolation and poverty were formative, teaching Temujin the harsh realities of life and the brutal struggle for survival. His mother, Holun, played a crucial role during this period, instilling in him the values of resilience and determination. At a young age, Temujin faced further betrayal when he was captured by the Taichiud tribe and enslaved. He managed to escape, but this experience reinforced his resolve to break free from the shackles of tribal feuds and rise to power. Temujin's early life was thus marked by a series of betrayals, escapes, and relentless struggles, shaping him into a hardened survivor who would stop at nothing to achieve his goals. Temujin's journey to becoming a formidable warrior began with forging strategic alliances. One of the most significant was his bond with Jimena, a childhood friend who would later become his rival. Together, they fought numerous battles, consolidating power and learning the intricacies of Mongol warfare. As Temujin started to bring the Mongol tribes together, his brilliance as a leader and strategist became clear. By elevating people according to their skills rather than their tribal affinities, he built a meritocratic system. This strategy won over those who would have otherwise been marginalized within their tribes, strengthening his army in the process. His marriage to Borte, the daughter of a powerful ally, further solidified his political standing. However, when Borte was kidnapped by the Merkits, Temujin demonstrated his prowess as a warrior by launching a daring rescue mission. This act not only secured his wife's return, but also established his reputation as a formidable and determined leader. During his initial campaigns, Temujin showed a remarkable capacity for flexibility and creativity. He embraced and improved upon novel military strategies, including psychological warfare and quick, well-planned assaults that left his adversaries stunned and demoralized. During his reign, these tactics would come to define Mongol warfare. Decisive conflicts and cunning political maneuvers characterized Temujin's rise to absolute power. The turning point occurred in the Battle of Dalan Baljut, where he soundly crushed Jemuka's army, who had turned into his adversary. With this triumph, he not only solidified his power over the Mongol tribes, but also earned the title of Universal Ruler, Genghis Khan. Under his leadership, the Mongol Empire expanded rapidly. Genghis Khan implemented a series of reforms that centralized his power and ensured the loyalty of his followers. He established a code of laws known as the Yasa, which reinforced discipline and unity among his people. This legal framework was instrumental in transforming the Mongol tribes from a loose confederation into a cohesive and formidable empire. Genghis Khan's military campaigns extended beyond the Mongolian steppes, targeting the wealthy and powerful empires of China, Central Asia, and Persia. His armies employed innovative siege tactics and strategic use of espionage to dismantle well-fortified cities and strongholds. The conquests were marked by brutal efficiency, with entire populations being massacred or enslaved to serve as a stark warning to those who resisted. His capacity to incorporate subjugated peoples into his kingdom was also cited as a factor in his success. Expert craftsmen, engineers, and intellectuals were spared and integrated into Mongol society. making significant contributions to the administrative and technological progress of the empire. This practical strategy not only improved the empire's capacities, but also helped to create some stability and prosperity across its enormous lands. Genghis Khan's path to perceived malevolence was paved with ruthless tactics and a deliberate use of terror as a tool of subjugation. His reputation for brutality was not merely a byproduct of his conquests, but a calculated strategy designed to instill fear and ensure compliance. The Khwarezmian Empire's demise is among the most notorious instances of his merciless tactics. Following the murder of one of his diplomatic envoys, Genghis Khan began a brutal campaign of retaliation. The inhabitants of cities like Samarkand and Bukhara were methodically killed and their cities destroyed. Even the most seasoned peers were astonished by the degree of savagery displayed during this campaign. Beyond using physical force, Genghis Khan employed psychological warfare. He used strategies like fabricating complex deceptions and disseminating tales of his invincibility to confuse and demoralize his adversaries. This strategy not only helped him win battles, but it also solidified his image as an intimidating and unstoppable force. The deliberate use of terror served multiple purposes. It expedited the surrender of opposing forces, reducing the need for prolonged sieges and battles. It also ensured that conquered territories remained subdued and compliant, minimizing the risk of rebellion. This strategic use of fear was a hallmark of Genghis Khan's leadership and contributed to the perception of him as a malevolent and tyrannical ruler. The motivations behind Genghis Khan's mass killings were multifaceted, encompassing strategic, cultural, and psychological factors. At the core of his approach was a pragmatic understanding of power dynamics and the necessity of maintaining control over a vast and diverse empire. Strategically, the mass killings served as a deterrent to resistance. By demonstrating the consequences of defiance, Genghis Khan effectively discouraged other cities and states from opposing his rule. This ruthless approach not only facilitated the rapid expansion of his empire, but also ensured its stability by eliminating potential threats. Culturally, the Mongols viewed warfare and conquest as integral aspects of their identity. The concept of total warfare, where entire populations were targeted, was not unique to Genghis Khan, but was deeply embedded in Mongol culture. The mass killings were thus a reflection of the cultural norms and values of the time, where displays of strength and dominance were paramount. From a psychological standpoint, Genghis Khan recognized the value of fear as a tool for rule. His adversaries developed a widespread sense of dread as a result of the methodical eradication of entire populations. He waged psychological warfare that penetrated the minds of people under his control and went beyond the lines of battle. The philosophical underpinnings of Genghis Khan's actions can also be traced to his belief in the divine mandate to conquer and unify the world. He viewed himself as a chosen instrument of Tengri, the Mongol sky god, destined to impose order on a chaotic world. This belief in his divine mission provided a moral justification for the widespread slaughter and destruction he orchestrated. Many of the sinister mysteries surrounding Genghis Khan's reign were kept under wraps in order to preserve his reputation as an all-powerful and unfailing leader. These secrets unveil a multifaceted and frequently contradictory person who is equally capable of merciless brutality and brilliant leadership. One of the darkest aspects of his reign was his practice of using internal purges to maintain loyalty and eliminate potential rivals. Even those closest to him were not immune to his wrath. The execution of trusted generals and advisors who were perceived as threats to his authority exemplifies the extent to which he would go to secure his power. Personal vendettas also played a significant role in his actions. Genghis Khan's desire for vengeance against those who wronged him in his early life often manifested in brutal reprisals. The annihilation of entire clans and tribes that had betrayed or opposed him was not merely a strategic move, but a deeply personal act of retribution. Equally brutal were his means of keeping his allegiance. As leverage to secure steadfast allegiance, hostages, typically the families of his generals and allies, were utilized. Fear and complete allegiance were the norm in his ranks, since there was a threat of execution for even the slightest suggestion of disloyalty. Genghis Khan's dark secrets extend to his personal life as well. His numerous wives and concubines, often taken from conquered territories, reflect a patriarchal and possessive approach to power and control. The treatment of these women, many of whom were forced into servitude, reveals a darker side of his personal conduct that contrasts sharply with the image of a just and visionary leader. The terror and dominance of the Mongol Empire began to dissipate after Genghis Khan's death in 1227. The immediate aftermath of his death saw a struggle for succession among his sons and grandsons, leading to the eventual division of the empire into several khanates. The fragmentation of the Mongol Empire weakened its centralized power and facilitated the rise of new political entities. The Golden Horde, the Ilkhanate, the Chagatai Khanate, and the Yuan dynasty in China operated as semi-independent states, each with its own leadership and ambitions. This division diluted the unified threat that the Mongol Empire had once posed. The gradual integration of Mongol culture into the conquered territories also contributed to the fading of their terror. The Mongols adopted and adapted to the administrative practices, religions, and cultures of the regions they ruled. This assimilation softened their image as ruthless conquerors and facilitated their acceptance within the broader historical narrative of those regions. The rise of new powers, such as the Ottoman Empire, the Ming dynasty in China, and the Russian principalities, further diminished the Mongol threat. These new powers filled the vacuum left by the declining Mongol khanates and reasserted control over their territories. Historical reinterpretation has also played a role in reshaping the legacy of Genghis Khan and the Mongols. Modern scholarship has sought to balance the narrative by highlighting their contributions to trade, culture, and the dissemination of knowledge across Eurasia. The Mongol Empire's facilitation of the Silk Road and the exchange of ideas between East and West are now recognized as significant aspects of their legacy.